The day the Council witnessed humanity's predator mode activate in real time. The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the soft bioluminescence of 1,000 species, each representative seated in their designated atmospheric pods. Ambassador ZYX Thor of the Crystalline Confederacy adjusted his translation matrix as the human delegation entered the room. It had been 3 standard cycles since Earth had been granted provisional membership, and this was their first crisis response evaluation. The humans looked unremarkable, as always. Soft skin, binary sensory organs, and that peculiar lack of natural weapons that made them seem almost comically vulnerable. Ambassador Chen walked with the measured grace that characterized her species, flanked by 2 military advisors whose ceremonial uniforms bore no visible armaments. "The simulation will begin momentarily," announced High Arbiter Velkash, her tentacles flowing through the air in formal patterns. "We must assess each species' tactical response to existential threats. Please observe the scenario on your displays." The holographic projector sparked to life, revealing a mining colony under attack by Void Reapers, the galaxy's apex predators. The insectoid nightmares had ravaged 17 civilizations before the Council had managed to establish containment protocols. On screen, colonists screamed and fled as the Reapers tore through defensive barriers like tissue paper. ZYX Thor watched the human delegation carefully. Ambassador Chen's face remained neutral, but something changed in her eyes. The military advisors had gone absolutely still, their postures shifting in ways that registered on his deep pattern sensors. It was subtle, but unmistakable. Every muscle had tensed, their breathing had slowed, and their pupils had dilated. "Curious," ZYX Thor transmitted to his aide. "The humans are displaying physiological changes." "Threat assessment complete," one of the human advisors said, his voice flat and emotionless. "Void Reaper pack. Approximately 40 individuals. Standard hive tactics. Exploiting panic response in prey species." Prey species. The word choice made several council members shift uncomfortably. Ambassador Chen tapped her datapad twice. "Authorization Chen 7 Alpha. Activate response protocol Apex." What happened next would be analyzed by xenobiologists for generations. The human advisor's eyes seemed to sharpen, their gazes taking on a quality that ZYX Thor's translator struggled to quantify. His sensors detected a cascade of biochemical changes: adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine flooding their systems. But unlike other species who panicked under stress, the humans became calmer. Colder. "They're hunting in a circular pattern," the female advisor noted, her finger tracing the Reaper's movements. "Forcing the colonists toward the central hub. Classic pack behavior. They're treating them like prey." The male advisor replied. Ambassador Chen pulled up a tactical display. "Void Reapers rely on fear response. They've never encountered a species that hunts back." Her fingers flew across the interface. "They're ambush predators. Fast, deadly, but their exoskeletons are vulnerable at the joints. They expect victims to run. They don't expect victims to set traps." ZYX Thor felt his crystalline structure vibrate with unease. The humans weren't discussing defense. They were discussing a counterhunt. "Council members," Ambassador Chen addressed the chamber, "with your permission, I'd like to demonstrate human tactical doctrine. We call it predator inversion." High Arbiter Velkash rippled her approval, though her color shifted to cautious amber. The human delegation transformed the display. They isolated the Reaper's movement patterns, identified the alpha, calculated pursuit vectors, and designed what they called a kill zone. It was methodical, efficient, and deeply unsettling. "The colonists should stop running," Chen explained. "Group into defensive clusters here, here, and here. Create noise and movement to draw the Reapers into the fabrication district. The industrial equipment there can be repurposed." "Repurposed how?" Velkash asked. The male advisor smiled, and ZYX Thor's sensors registered it as what humans called a predatory grin. "The plasma cutters, hydraulic presses, and automated assembly arms. We turn the facility into a meat grinder. The Reapers enter expecting fleeing prey. Instead, they find coordinated resistance and environmental hazards. But the colonists aren't soldiers, protested Representative Mulvar of the Peaceful Consensus. They don't need to be, Chen replied. They just need to be angry enough to fight back. Humans have a saying, cornered prey becomes the predator. We'll show them how. The simulation ran according to the human strategy. The colonists stopped fleeing and formed defensive positions. When the Reapers charged in, expecting easy victims, they encountered barricades, improvised weapons, and colonists who fought with desperate fury. The humans had weaponized the environment itself. Every corridor became a trap, every room a potential kill box, but it was the final phase that stunned the council into silence. The humans didn't just defend. They counterattacked. Using the Reapers' own pack tactics against them, the colonists isolated stragglers, collapsed structures on pursuing groups, and systematically eliminated threats with cold efficiency. Within the simulation, the Reaper pack broke. The survivors fled. The council chamber erupted in alarmed chatter. Multiple species transmitted distress signals. The Peaceful Consensus representative had retreated entirely into his shell. This is barbaric. Mulvar finally emerged to protest. You turned civilians into killers. Ambassador Chen's expression didn't change. We turned victims into survivors. There's a difference. Every species in this council has natural defenses, armor, venom, psychic abilities. Humans don't. We evolved being hunted by everything. We survived by learning to hunt better than anything that hunted us. That instinct doesn't disappear just because we reached the stars. ZYX Thor understood then. The humans weren't just another species seeking protection under the council's aegis. They were apex predators wearing the mask of civilization. And when threatened, that mask slipped away to reveal something far older and more dangerous. The simulation is complete, Velkash announced, her voice carefully neutral. The human response is effective. Disturbing, but effective. As the delegation departed, ZYX Thor caught Ambassador Chen's eye. Your species frightens us, he transmitted directly. Chen paused and looked back. Good, she replied softly. Because that's what keeps us all safe. The things that hunt humans don't know we're the galaxy's persistence predators. By the time they learn, it's already too late. ZYX Thor watched the humans leave, and for the first time in his long life, he felt grateful that humanity had chosen to be the Council's ally. Because he had witnessed what happened when humanity's predator mode activated. And he never wanted to be on the receiving end of it.